Welcome back to Kathy Meadows. I really hope you're enjoying the things that I'm putting out for you, and I hope that people are able to learn something from this and maybe not make some of the mistakes I've made. That being said, I want the video today to be primarily a combination of a review of some of the equipment I use and some of the mistakes that I've made in selecting equipment, leading me to mistakes episode number 2. The mistake primarily being, say hello, Cupcake. Here's Cupcake coming to say hi. This mistake primarily being that I've wasted money buying equipment that wasn't the right equipment for me. So I'd like to go over a few things here. We're going to go in here. You saw the photograph that I started with, wasn't a photograph, but you saw a couple of fence energizers right at the beginning of my video here. First one being the Premier 1 IntelliShock. I think that's probably backwards, and maybe one day I'll learn how to fix that. The other one being this other one. I'm not going to say the name brand out, but I bought it from a big box store that is a rather large farm supply store that's open to the general public. You probably guess, but I'm sure they're all about the same. And then I want to show you here, this one over here too. This is the Cube 4000 Energizer. What I started with was the IntelliShock solar charged electric fence energizer. I cannot say anything but good, top quality equipment. That's been a purchase that's been worth every cent that I spent on the purchase, and just can't recommend it highly enough. And what I can tell you is the times that I've accidentally shocked myself, it works very well. The other energizers, the one from the big box store, you might have seen on there, it said it was rated for 15 miles with a 0.9 joule output with low impedance energizer. And it worked initially when I had to put a fence around the back of my property. That fence was probably half a mile long. Comes out here to a breaker switch, on and off, okay? And comes out to here, through here and here. And you can see right now there's a lot of weeds growing up on it. It hasn't always been like that. What I initially had running to that was this rope. This rope was also bought by the big box store. The rope was bought because I wanted my animals to be able to see it. They had been trained to white electric fence, and I wanted them to understand when they saw it. I wanted them to understand that when they saw it, that it was going to shock them. The reason I had to add this fence around the entire back of my property was to keep Cupcake in the fence. Cupcake is an escape artist. So what I did, she's a digger, she's not a jumper. So what I had done was run cow tried to poop on my foot. Was run that white rope around the bottom of the fence, all the way around the back of my property, as low to the ground as I could get it, so that she couldn't dig under it without touching. That worked real well when I first installed it. So if that is what you need, I would say the low impedance 15-mile energizer from the big box store was good. The problems started when Mr. Carl let me use his fence and his gate to go onto his property. So I had to have a way through. So I got one of these spring loaded handles. I think you can see it over there. That handle, so that I could disconnect it, pull over here, hang it up over here, so I can open the gate and let the animals out and eat Mr. Carl's grass. Well, so that was 2 more electrical connections in the fence. There's one over there where it comes out of the barn. Then we have one over on the east side of the barn where it comes out over there. So that's another electrical connection. And it was going around. When it was only one electrical connection on each side, it worked great. Add the gate. It started losing its energy. It wouldn't shock strongly. So it was still working well enough to keep Cupcake in. Still working well enough that I could feel the tingles in my finger if I touched it, but it wasn't working great. Then Cupcake started getting on the other side of the fence. When we were here in the middle section of my property, she started digging under the rest of that west fence. So I added a third of those ropes to go down the whole side over there on the west. When I added that rope, I lost all voltage. You can see right now, let's see if we can see. Got this little fence tester, 8,000 kilovolts. I think you could see that. I'll go back and review it. If you can, I'll try to fix it. 8,000 kilovolts. So I have that around the entire property now, all the way to the end of the line. And when I open up the gate on both sides of the line, I still have 8,000 kilovolts. Now, that is with the Cube 4000. With the big box store Energizer, it dropped down to where it would not register even the 2.5 kilovolts. So very satisfied with the Cube Energizers, very spicy. I feel like I wasted my money on the first one that I got, although I plan on repurposing it for my chickens. Okay, guys, y'all are, everybody's coming to see what I'm doing. I feel like I wasted my money on the first one. Also, what I had to change was the rope. That electric rope caused too much resistance, so I changed to this wire right here. I don't know if you, there we go. The wire. So the metal wire and the Energizer change fixed my problem with the voltage on my electric fence. I initially changed the wire, and that was not enough. I added an additional ground. That was not enough. Added a ground to the metal fence that is behind it, causing the entire metal fence to be the ground. That was not enough to overcome the resistance that the rope created and that the electrical connections created. Too much resistance to get voltage through the fence. It did not work. One of the other things that I really enjoy about the... Say hello, Louise. One of the things that I really enjoy about the fence is that as opposed to a low impedance fence, which I have since learned does not work great in thick weeds, I got a wide impedance fence that has worked wonderful through the weeds, through the poor electrical connections, through the length of the wire. It's just been a great investment. The other thing that I would like to show you is this type of electric tape, the electrical wire tape. This is what I initially used with my IntelliShock solar charger. for my animals to become trained to the electric fence. And you know what? It worked really great. I bought it at the big box store. It worked great. Problem was, it only worked great for a year. After a year, it's hard to see. It won't focus. There are metal wires woven through here that carry the current. And after a year of rolling them up, unrolling them, connecting them, disconnecting them, rolling them up on that, unrolling them, connecting them and disconnecting them, the metal wires began to break. So the connections began to spark between the broken wires. And each one of those breaks lessened the amount of voltage that it carried. So after a year, nearly every one of my rolls of electrical tape stopped conducting electricity well, if at all. So what I upgraded to, again, I sound like I'm being a paid advertiser. I'm not. Is this Premier One IntelliTwine braided. It's got a single copper wire through the middle that is protected by the plastic wire on the outside, and then also steel wires woven into it similar to the tape, but it allegedly is more durable. It was either a 5 or 10 year life expectancy. I don't remember now off the top of my head. So I'm hoping that it will remain more durable. So that leaves me to the mistake for this mistakes episode has been attempting to both save money and succumbing to the convenience of being able to walk in the store and buy it, which honestly was not much cheaper than buying any of my supplies online. But in my attempt to save money, I've had to buy some of my equipment multiple times. I've got a good friend of mine that told me, buy once, cry once. And he was right in this situation. If I had done more research and been less impatient, I could have gotten the right equipment installed more correctly the first time and ended up saving myself a double charge by having to buy the equipment twice. Another funny story, if you want another mistake that I've made on fencing, when I first installed my fence on our first property that me and my beautiful wife moved into, we got 2 sheep. You met the first one. She's back there. Her name is Louise. You heard me speak to her. She was my first sheep. Her and her friend. What ended up happening as soon as they moved into our property, not this property, but another property I lived at, we had 1.5 acres. And I hate mowing grass. It's just a tedious chore for me. And a friend of mine had bought some sheep. I thought, man, I would love to have some sheep to eat about an acre that we fenced off. Got Louise, got her friend, and within the first 24 hours, they had broken my fence down. I had this similar field fence that I have here, but I did not know how to install field fence, and I Googled how to install field fence. And I installed it the way I made my braces on the corners, made me a gate. It was beautiful, but they did not tell me that you need to wrap the wire around the pole and secure it. I thought you just stapled it up there. And turns out when a 100+ pound sheep tries to jump over, lands on it, it'll break it straight off the pole in the corner. So either Louise or her friend broke it down and made a run for it. Fortunately, I saw them and was able to keep them in my sight. They did not know me. I was new to them. They were not trained that I fed them. They did not know where they were. They were on a new property. That turned into an 8-hour ordeal of me in a tank top, much like this, in the middle of summer, traipsing about 8 miles through Nesbitt, Mississippi, following 2 sheep, getting on the phone, trying to share my location with people, trying to get some friends to help me. After 8 hours and about 8 miles, we finally got them corralled. We got them back, and that was when they earned the name Thelma and Louise. Thelma unfortunately died. She got attacked by a predator later, which turns out why we have Cupcake now. But looking back, it's very funny. At the time, it was a little bit stressful. I got sunburned pretty bad. My feet hurt. I was not wearing appropriate shoes to go traipsing through Nesbitt, Mississippi, chasing some sheep. But hey, it worked out. So anyway, please, as always, if you like this, please share it. Please like, please subscribe. I'm trying to make this something that people can learn from, and nobody's going to be able to learn from it if they don't know it's out there. Hope that I can keep bringing y'all information that is helpful to somebody out there. Thanks again. I love you guys. I thought I was through, but I have one more thing I wanted to add. So while we're here and we're reviewing fences, one of the things I want to talk about is fence post. I have 3 different styles here. And I want to just go over with you some of the pros and cons of both. Well, all 3. So the ground's real dry, even though we got a little rain yesterday. The ground's still so dry that I basically have to hammer these in or stomp them in. So we're reworking the fence here. Time to move the animals. I try to move them once a day, once every 2 days, once every 3 days. We've talked about it. So we're going to come. I put these posts about every 10, 15 steps. So we're going to go from this T-post. It's a good corner post for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Look at my ground. Man, that's hard ground. Okay. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Take that, try to get it in. Woo! Fiber tough post, 40 inches tall. Made it in the ground. Stomped pretty hard. The same fiberglass post from that same big box store that the energizers came from. Look at that. That's the foothold. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to show you here. Step on it. Can't get it to go in. It's real flimsy. Oh no. Yeah, that's my problem with these. The plastic part broke right off. So you know I got to resort to do when I want to get these in the ground. Hammer. Believe it or not, it works pretty good. I can hammer. They go in the ground okay with the hammer. They don't break too bad when you go in the ground with the hammer. My third post, this plastic one. Plastic on the bottom. Plastic all the way through the top. Stick in the ground. All right. Try to step it in. Oh man, it's just, the ground is too hard. Oh, this one's kind of going in. All right. That actually went in. I was expecting it to break. But when it won't go in, you got to hammer it up here. And I've broken several of them hammering them. So my recommendation is the fiber tough post. That plastic is soft plastic on the top. It's pretty malleable. It doesn't break when you hammer it. Up under that is fiberglass. It's non-conductive. Down at the bottom is a metal spike with a metal step in. I've had much better success with them. They're not significantly stiffer than the other ones, but they are stiffer. My only complaint is when you use them for a corner, they're not stiff enough. I don't know that they make one that is stiff enough for a corner that you can step in. I'll have to research that more. If I find one, I'll let you know. But I'm going to get back to finishing this electric fence. It should take me about 15, 20 more minutes. Step these posts in / stomp these posts in. But I just wanted to throw that in there for my review and recommendation on these posts too. I think these black ones that are all plastic and these fiberglass ones, even though they're half as expensive as the fiber tough post, they are almost worthless and also half as durable or less. So that's just my 2 cents. I wasted a lot of money on those inexpensive posts, buying them and breaking them, when I should have just bought once, buy once, cry once, with the decent quality posts, and save myself a little time and heartache and money. And anyway, that's my 2 cents. Thank you.